The Nintendo Switch is great. The entire concept of being able to take home console titles on the go is fascinating and is by far the most ambitious console I've seen from any developer. However, this doesn't come without its issues, and in fact, I think this thing has the most issues out of any console Nintendo have ever released, and it baffles me sometimes how they managed to release it in this state. But just why do I think this? Surely, the Nintendo Switch is the greatest console ever invented by mankind, and anybody who disagrees with that is objectively wrong, right? No? Good. Without wasting any more time, this is why I think the Nintendo Switch is a big fat mess. The worst part about this is that it's so common that I'm positive some of you watching this will have faced this issue. This is when the analog sticks just start doing their own thing, drifting, as one might say. Even I have encountered this annoying issue, and while I've luckily temporarily fixed it, I have no doubt in my mind that it'll return someday. There have been an overwhelming amount of reports covering this huge issue, and I definitely don't believe it's an isolated incident anymore, which is really bad. If this ever happens to you, your only option is to send your Joy-Cons off to Nintendo, in which you have to pay for postage, as well as waiting for around a week for your controllers to return. And I hear you telling me right now, Nintendo have announced that they'll be repairing them for free. And yeah, you're right. But not only did this take 2 years to happen, but it's only in America. Just wow. Really? So everybody else in the world has to pay for these fines for dodgy Joy-Cons, while America has a safety guarantee of sending them off to Nintendo for completely free? Joy-Cons are rather expensive, with them going for around $70, $80 if you're in the UK. And to be received by such issues is totally absurd. With the steep price, Nintendo should be offering the highest of standards, not fragile little controllers. They don't even feel premium either. They feel cheap and plasticky, and are much more flimsy compared to the likes of the PS4 and Xbox One controllers. And no, HD Rumble and the IR camera aren't worth the price of admission whatsoever. Even my Joy-Cons were faulty. The L and R buttons just completely stopped working, so I can't even use them individually anymore. I just don't remember Nintendo ever making controllers for their consoles that have been so flawed in design as before. Did any of you ever see as many reports as these for their past consoles? Because I definitely didn't. And with Nintendo mysteriously ignoring these issues up until very recently, it's very worrying to me. But I guess never late than never, right? You've all probably heard about some of these issues when the Switch was first released. Most notably, the bending of the switches that occurred. Sure, it happened to the minority, but it also happened to a lot more people than it should have. Very notable people had their switches bend on them due to the overheating of the console. And it's shocking how Nintendo didn't anticipate this while designing the console itself. And while there's been no recent reports of this happening, it's definitely not gone. What about all of these people that bought the console at launch? They don't have Nintendo's possible new revisions. They're still stuck with the same flawed system. The Switch sold so many units at launch and within the first few months, so this problem definitely affected many and still might to this day. This isn't the only issue though. How about that dock? Yeah, I believe the design of the dock is just bad. The way you have to carefully place your Switch into it so that the screen doesn't rub against the plastic is horrible. And this is still a thing to this day. Why aren't there soft cushions or something within the dock that prevents this? Why do I have to place the Switch into my dock so slowly to prevent the thing from being scratched? The Switch is meant to be about the ease of swapping from console play to handheld play, but this design totally undermines that and leaves you with a clunky alternative. This isn't the biggest issue on the planet, but it certainly is a flaw. A pretty big flaw that I don't remember Nintendo making with past systems. Well, other than the 3DS scratching the top of the screen when you close the system, but we all know how dumb that was. I think that this is a universal issue that everybody can agree with. When the Switch was first released, the eShop was so bare bones, and while I did complain about it, I could understand that the console had just released. But now, in 2019, or whenever you're watching this, it's still a mess. It's the most bland eShop I've ever seen. No music whatsoever, everything being so slow, icons taking ages to even show on screen. It's really bad. Games are impossible to find due to the fact that Nintendo lets literally any game possible come to the system, just so they can brag about having more than 2,000 games available. It's a shame that only 1/10 of those games are actually polished. The entire user experience is just wrong here. We're on a Nintendo system. There should be some charm going through this. The Wii pulled it off, the 3DS pulled it off, and even the Wii U pulled this off in spades. And yet here we are on the Nintendo Switch, and it feels just about as low effort as it can get. And this is a real shame. Add music, make games easier to find, make the UI less clunky and more user friendly. Because right now, it feels like a Flash browser eShop. Why is it like this on a console I've spent a lot of money on? Even the PlayStation Vita, yeah, that irrelevant console, had a better eShop than this, with dedicated sections for games, easy UI layout, and some very nice music to go along with it. Nintendo, if you're hearing this, please just polish this up more. It'd go a long way into making the user experience just that much better. And I can't imagine it would be so hard to do, considering you've done it so many times in the past. There are other issues too that definitely make the Switch feel less polished, but doesn't really affect the user experience too much. Things like the lack of new themes for the home menu, as well as any sort of music whatsoever. No way to track your exact playtime on games, which you could easily do on the Wii U and 3DS. The lack of folders, the lack of the virtual console. I could go on forever for why these features should be here, but I'll save that for a future discussion. For now though, just know that I really feel like these features should have been here from the start, and it's disappointing to see Nintendo just waste this. To be honest, all I really want is Super Mario Sunshine on the Switch, man. Nintendo, please give it to us. I think it's easy to say that the Switch isn't Nintendo's perfect console, and in fact, is perhaps their weakest made one. These issues never popped up on any of their previous systems, so why now? Honestly, I just believe it was a bit rushed, considering it came out in the middle of a console generation, and with that, they gave us a subpar quality product. I highly believe that if the concept of swapping between home console and portable play like this already existed, that Nintendo wouldn't have gotten away with these issues so easily. But sadly, they did. So all I'm doing right now is voicing my concerns in hopes that they're heard one day. I love my Switch, but these issues slowly put me off from playing it. Hey guys, thank you for watching. This one took me so long to make. Now, to make things clear, Pokemon Sword and Shield videos are still coming. I'm just mixing in some Nintendo stuff. But if you like Sword and Shield, you like Nintendo, stick around. Obviously, that's what I'm all about. Thank you for watching the video. Peace out.